Welcome back to another episode of Fight Sports Uncovered, coming to you right here from Top Box in Johannesburg. And fascinating weekend of Punchy Keki taking place this weekend. For those that don't know, we're starting off with UFC 268. Two rematch title fights taking place there. Then there's Bellator 270, another rematch title fight on the go there. We've also got EFC 90 taking place here in South Africa. And then there's Bare Knuckle New York. But for me, the big one this weekend is a boxing bout. It's Alvarez versus Plant for everything in the division. And a man's going to talk to me a little bit about that and a whole bunch more. He's no stranger to our show. He's been on our show. I've spoken to him on many, many occasions. He doesn't keep his opinions to himself, which is why we like coming back here. Stephen Castle, welcome back to the show, and thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me again.
Let's talk the big fights this weekend, the global stuff. I mean, UFC is a big one. Obviously, Usman versus Colby Covington 2.
Yeah.
Your initial thoughts on that?
Same result. I don't see a change in
broken jaw again.
Well, you know, I think Usman's got a lot more. He's got bad intentions, and he's shown that the last, fight where he's not interested in listening to stories and excuses. So I think he's got a lot he wants to show, and if it gets to that, I think he will do it again. I can't see Covington being able to take it away from him. It's dominant. He's not dominate the fight, guaranteed.
EFC 90, you've now got a very big vested interest in EFC as I understand it going forward, but that's probably a story for another day.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on EFC 90? It's a landmark event for the EFC promoter here in South Africa, 90 events down, or let's call it 91 after last month's event. Yeah. Your thoughts on how EFC have gone and what to expect the event this weekend?
Yeah, I can't believe it's 90 already, or 91, whatever it is. I think I did the first 15 as an employee of UFC, so it's nice to see that they've stuck around, and they've had difficulties in that. So best of luck and well done to them, because it's a tough market, and what they do and how they do it is tough, because they do it on a big scale, and they've been criticizing it. But I hats off to them. I always say, if you can do better, do it.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, get behind and support the guys that are. So well done to them. Should be a good one.
Obviously, the big one, probably closer to your heart than most of the other Punchy Keki taking place this weekend. Alvarez versus Plant. Yeah. Like I said, everything is on the line in the super middleweight division.
Yeah,
your thoughts, where do you think this goes? I mean,
there's been so much talk about from the guys that know, and I say the guys that know, the ex-champions and that, where there's a lot of talk coming out about Plant possibly upsetting. I don't see it. I can't. We all know that there's a possibility in boxing that anything can happen. I just don't see Plant being able to do anything against Alvarez. I mean, Canelo is on a mission. He started the beginning of the year saying that he wants to unify. It will be the first time ever that a Mexican will hold the entire collection of belts in the super middleweight division. That's been his goal from day one. He's not going to let Plant, with all due respect to Plant and what he's done. Who is he beaten? You look at Canelo's resume; it's impeccable. He's fought everybody. He's gone up, he's gone down, he's smashed everyone around, and people always throw out names and say he never fought this one in that particular. But he beat the best there was out there when he had to. And I think I actually see a stoppage in this, probably later rounds.
8, 9.
I see after 6. But I do think that he's going to be too much for Plant. He's going to railroad him. He's going to smash him. And he doesn't like him either, which makes it difficult. It's like you don't want an angry Mexican coming at you, and he's angry. So
we saw that at the press conference when they first cut Plant beneath the eye. So it could be fun. Fireworks.
Great fight. Looking forward to it.
Talking about, and staying with boxing, talking about boxing on a more local level. Yeah. This weekend, BOXOP 2.
Yeah, celebrity boxing.
Celebrity boxing, and I know a lot of you out there have got your views on celebrity boxing, that we should keep it with the actual professionals, but some celebrity matches have actually been quite fun. I mean, I think back to BOXOP 1, where we had a rocker versus a rugby player, Francois van Coke versus Derek Hoogaard. Now we've got BOXOP 2, we've got another rocker up against a comedian. So what is this, comedy rocking?
Comedy versus rock.
Absolutely. So how did this all come about? Because you've suddenly got involved in a lot of this, and it's actually become a little bit bigger than just BOXOP as we've understood it to be from BOXOP 1, because there's also this thing called BOXOP Pro coming up, which
Yeah.
we'll talk a little bit about later on in the show.
Yeah, it's initially the BOXOP 2 was going to be professional fights with the celebrity fight at the end. That was the intentions of Blue Banana Events, who run BOXOP. Yaku Geo, he's in charge there, and that was the way it was going to be done. And then unfortunately, as we know happens in this country, the administration in certain fields just tend to get things all wrong. So we had to pull the plug on the pro side of the card and shift the pro card to later in November.
Okay.
And Yaku sent out a white dove with asking me for help and to try and save the celebrity side, because we try to move the celebrity fight as well, but obviously the guy like Ross and Kevin both have got huge diaries that are full up with tours and everything opening up again for them. So they couldn't move their date. And he asked me, how do we save it? Can I save it with white collar? And obviously running South Africa's most successful white collar promotion, we had guys available. I put it together and we managed to save the event to where the event's actually, I think, going to be a crack of event. We got some great fights on the undercard, white collar fights, white collar with a slight difference to it, and the difference being is that typically white collar we don't have winners and losers. We're going to have winners and losers in this one, but not judged on the typical criteria of boxing. No boxing judging as per se, in that the people that are judging the fights aren't boxing qualified. As
officials.
As officials, no. Okay. So what type of things we're going to have? We're going to have a celebrity judge. So we're going to have somebody like Jack Parrow. If Jack agrees to it, will be judging as one of the judges. Then we're going to have a member of the public sitting at ringside, and then we're going to have either a current or ex-professional sitting there, a boxer, as a judge. So it's going to be a different viewpoint. It's going to be 2 different or 3 different views deciding a winner and loser. And the reason why we decided on the winner and loser was obviously one of the main sponsors of BOXOP is Sportland. And Sportland obviously are betting, and they were originally on board because of the professional side and that. So we had to try and save it on that. And it's changed the dynamic, I think, for the white collar fighters as well. They obviously, there's a lot more at stake besides just getting in and fighting, which is a hard enough thing as well. Now they've got to impress 3 people around ringside, which I've never had to do before. So that's going to be very exciting. And then on top of that, you got the white collar fights. You got celebrity Corin Zoid's performing.
Yeah,
Jack
Parrow's going to be there, yeah.
Young Thug, I think, is, I don't even know all the guys, like 4 or 5 celebrities.
Tidal Wave's also going to be there, yeah. Tidal
Wave. So yeah, it's a night out that you would want to be part of, you want to experience. So yeah, it's going to be a fun night, and I'm looking forward to it, definitely.
Tommy, where's it taking place? Where can people get tickets? Because it takes place, I understand, Saturday?
Yeah, it's Saturday night, Times Square Arena in Pretoria. Tickets are available through iTickets. You can either stream the event and watch it at home, or if you're in Pretoria or in Johannesburg and you want to get to the event, there are VIP tickets available. It is formal, it's black tie, so you're going to come out, you're going to be red carpeted, there's going to be plenty of celebrities there, as you can imagine already. So if you want to rub shoulders with the rich and famous and the infamous as well, definitely come through to Times Square Arena. But get those tickets, because from what I understand, it is selling quite quickly. So itickets.co.za, tickets are available for the night.
Fascinating proposition ahead of BOXOP 2, especially when you start looking at the concept of the judges and how it's going to be judged. I reached out to one of the guys that was part and parcel of BOXOP 1, Francois van Coop. I did a recent podcast with him, and just to get his sense, his thoughts on how it was going to go down. And in true fashion, I suppose, celebrity fashion, he decided to be a little bit diplomatic. He decided to sit a little bit on the fence. So he obviously is going to go with his rocker colleague. He's going to definitely support Ross in this, but at the same time, he said he's got to also support the team that helped him get through those many, many months of training. So Matt Leishing and Tian Fick are going to be the team that are going to be there for Kevin. Yeah. So basically, Francois is not really supporting any one of them specifically. He's sitting nicely on the fence, but I suppose that's great. It's great for
he wins both ways.
Absolutely. If he's putting his money on the one and he's putting his money on the other, he's going to get something back.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. We'll reach out and find out a little bit more how that all went down, particularly the judging, because I think if that goes down well, it could usher in a new era for white-collar judging going forward.
Sure. I mean, I've always been one of the ones that try to stay away from it because I wanted white collar to be an exhibition. We've had to bring it in now, and based upon the success of it, we'll obviously look at it going forward for white collar. Yeah, definitely.
Great news. So following on that announcement of BOXOP Pro taking place on the 27th of November, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined right here for his first time on Fight Sports Uncovered, Luke Sutherland, the challenger to the heavyweight title. Welcome to the show.
There we go. How's it? Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
How does it feel to have that title, challenger to the heavyweight crown behind your name?
Well, our goal is champion, and that's what we're walking away with.
And new.
But and the new, yes. So I mean, we've been working towards this ever since we entered in the heavyweight division. This has been our goal, to get a fight for the title. It's been a challenging 2 years to get here, fights on and off, but here we are, and we're ready to fight.
You made your debut July 2017, great TKO win over Warren LaRue. Since then, it's COVID's played a part. I mean, let's understand. Since your last fight, you haven't fought in almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years, yeah. It's just about 2 years, yeah.
And now, 27th of November, you're coming up, you're challenging for the South African heavyweight title. What have you been doing in those 2 years? Because it must be frustrating not being able to, other than train, but step in and put those skills to the test.
Sure, I hear you. I mean, literally the last 2 years have been fights on and off. We were supposed to fight Josh Pretorius it was literally the end of March, as lockdown hit. We were prepared for that fight, ready to go, and then literally every day since then it's been some sort of cancellation due to COVID. And we've just been in and out of fight camp from that point till now. So it's been training and sparring and getting ready to fight, and here we are. It's been fortuitous that we are ready for this title, and it's what we want. We're hungry for it.
As a heavyweight, you're fairly young in your career. I mean, 5 fights, 3-2 as a professional record. Your last win coming over Mark Subramani. But that, like I said, 2 years ago. Tian, the heavyweight champion, very much like one of your previous opponents, Ruan Visser. Very tall, lanky guy. Obviously, you took a lot out of that fight. Now, a very similar kind of fighter, very similar kind of individual you're going to be facing. What's the training been like, and what are the learnings that you got out of that you've implemented into your training ahead of this fight?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I won't lie to you. We prefer fighting taller guys. It's become part of our game plan now. It's part of our training regime. So coming out of fighting Ruan Visser, learned a lot from that. That was a short acceptance of that fight, but all we've done is take the hardest fights that were available. We fought who was available at the top of the ladder. We haven't fought padded fights to get through rankings. We fought the best, and here we sit.
Well, there you've heard some initial thoughts from the South African heavyweight challenger who is going to be fighting for that title. He's going to be looking to put the current champ on notice and hopefully take that strap away and be crowned and the new. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to carry on this conversation with Luke Sergeant Sutherland.
Here we go! Reasonable insert that is on the netted guns. No touch. Oh, Holly Holm. Look at the ring. The big dog. Spear.
Welcome back to Fight Sports Uncovered. I'm your host, Mark Joubert, and if you missed the first part of the show, you'll have missed the exciting announcement that BOXOP, which originally started as a celebrity boxing setup, is going pro. And 27th of November, we'll see BOXOP Pro highlight and showcase their very first professional outing as an event, as a promoter, as just a great spectacle to watch as fight fans. And all of this off the back that sport is now opening up quite rapidly here in South Africa following a long hiatus due to COVID-19. And the man joining me, sitting right next to me, is the challenger for that main event. If you missed out, Luke Sutherland is going to be challenging Tian Fick for the South African heavyweight title. And Luke, as we were saying just before the break, it's been a long time for you out of the cage, the ring, out of fighting, so to speak. And a lot of fights being set up, being put off, set up, being put off. Training for you, how does that mentally sort of affect an individual who's building up for something? Like you said, you were building up to fight just before COVID broke, just before we all sort of got locked down. Mentally, I mean, how have you had to adapt to continuously building up to something, getting your mind ready, and then suddenly being pulled away from you?
Sure, I mean, it's been a learning curve, but for us, it's literally been up and down, preparing, relaxing, and it's just been a continuous fight game. Mentally, we're ready. I would say that we've just continually been sparring all the way through, because it's literally been from the start of lockdown till today. We have been preparing for some sort of fight. So we've had small breaks and then back into it for a preparation for a fight. So the only rust that there may be is stepping into a ring for a fight, which is literally, we prepare for it in sparring. So I wouldn't say that we're unprepared at all.
Looking at your opponent, the current South African heavyweight champion, he's undefeated, 9-0. Although many would probably, and I think you're probably part of that school of thought, that his fight against Warren LaRue was regarded by many as a loss for him. He should have lost that one. Your thoughts on that? Going into a fight with a guy that's undefeated, 6 knockouts to his name. I mean, that's got to play on your mind a bit?
Sure, it does. I mean, like I said earlier, you go into the game and you want to fight the best. I've looked at some of Tian's fights, all respect to him, there were some easy fights in there. On my end, beating Warren twice and watching the card of Warren versus Tian, that was very close. I gave several rounds to Warren on that. So I mean, it's learning, and he's improved from there as well. So I obviously won't be fighting the same Tian that Warren fought, but it's whoever comes with more in the ring on the day. So we're coming with everything. We don't come to play boxing. Nobody does. So we're coming to war.
You've mentioned now a couple of times that you're only looking at the guys sitting on the top of the pile. Looking at the rest of that heavyweight division, I know I had a discussion with Chris Thompson not so long ago, about a week ago, and he was calling out the fact that the heavyweight division is literally not moving. He doesn't feel that the title he's been given, it's justice. Your thoughts on the fact that there are a lot of other heavyweights now that feel that they should get their shot now and start going at the heavyweight division?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I thought Chris was a cruiserweight and was still there, but the slowdown in boxing is the same slowdown for everybody. It's because of COVID. Literally, it's been a dragging feet ordeal for every fighter that there's been. I actually feel sorry for the guys that boxing is their primary career, because they've literally had to scrape together cents to survive, which has been very sad. So yeah, it's been for everybody, literally for everything, and it's so exciting to see that wheels are starting to turn again. And the guys who are at the top of the ladder, I mean, below me would be Josh Pretorius, and then Justice Saliga was still in there. So I mean, that's the ladder, the South African ladder. It will change as guys fight each other.
With just a couple of weeks of preparation left until you challenge for the South African heavyweight strap, where do you see the whole sort of boxing sort of unraveling itself in the last couple of months of the year? And most importantly, how do you see your fight on the 27th ending?
So, as I said, it's very exciting that guys are getting back into tournaments and supporters are allowed to get back to tournaments. It brings that excitement back for the fans as well as for the fighters. because it's all been can view. I think the only tournaments that have happened have been the Golden Gloves tournaments over this period and one or two others. But there's been hundreds of cancellations, which destroys the training for the boxers, because they get up and then they slump. But yeah, and I mean the guys that are using that as their life, that's destroying their life bread. But and in terms of my fight, yeah, like I say, I'm going there to win. So there is in my mind, there is nothing else but walking away with that strap.
Well, Luke Sutherland, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing that fight come November 27th.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for the interview.
So in an exciting card, BOXOP Pro taking place 27th of November. One of the other bouts on that card as the main supporting bout is the gentleman sitting right next to me. And I'm privileged to be speaking to him for the first time. He is going to be throwing down with Gift Bolo in a junior welterweight clash. Denis Mwale, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for your time. And it's great having you here with Fight Sports Uncovered.
Thank you, Matt.
So Denis, before we get into the fight, before we get to find out what's all going to be happening on the 27th between you and Gift, a little bit about yourself. How did you get into the sport of boxing? How did the bug bite you as a youngster?
Yeah, so I'll say it's a long story if I can start talking about how I started boxing. And obviously I started working in the garden. Then after that, if the people want to know more about my story, they can go on social media and search Denis Mwale. They'll know more about my story, where I'm from, where I started. Yeah, so coming to 27, it has been a long journey this year, man. From 2020 to 2021, it has been challenging to every boxer, because like most of us, we depend on boxing. If we don't box, we don't make living, you know. So coming to 27, I'm so excited to be men supporting bout locally, which I love. And yeah, fighting Gift Bolo. We're both coming from loss, so I think it's gonna be exciting fight.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Both of you are coming off a loss. He's on a 3-fight skid. You coming off that vacant title fight loss, that decision loss to you there. So, I mean, at the end of the day, one of you is going to walk away with a win on their records after the 27th. Looking at your record, looking at his record, he's got a lot more experience. How is that factored in terms of the training ahead and your preparation ahead of this upcoming fight?
Him having more fights, that really doesn't bother me, because if I look at my last fight, I fought a guy with 30 fights, and he fought the best in the country and he fought overseas as well, and him having more titles as well. I learned a lot of that night, and I don't take that as a loss. I take that as a lesson, because I didn't lose anything. I didn't get knocked out, and the guy that he's a big guy. He's also prospect in his country. He's a national champion, and he have a couple of titles, right? So him having 19 fights, that doesn't really bother me.
Do you think him being on a 3-fight skid, there's a little bit more desperation from him to not go 4 fights in a row, having lost, and for you want to just snap and not go into any sort of fight skid? How has that been part of your mental preparation?
My mental preparation, I'm just preparing the way I've been preparing the old boxing when I'm fighting, and so it doesn't really bother me, because I know that he's gonna take another loss, and come 27, I'm coming out with a W, you know. Yeah.
That vacant title fight that you fought for the WBF Intercontinental belt, straight after that you changed camps. So you moved away from Jody Solomon. You've now moved back here to Top Box. What was the reasoning behind that for you to suddenly move camps ahead of or after that fight and ahead of your next fight?
I would say me moving out from, because I used to stay in Krego, and now I moved from Krego and stay in Fourways, and that was affecting me, and not competing a lot. For me, traveling up and down and train that side was hard for me. And also, I'm not taking anything from Jody, since she's also a good trainer. But the thing is, I just moved back to my old trainer, where I just wanted to fix a couple things which I was feeling like not doing it right. So I just wanted to move up the weight division, and and maybe create my power, because I was feeling like I'm losing power with the boxing style which I was learning from George. So yeah, I just moved back to my old trainer where I started when I turned professional. I started with Shepherd, so now I'm back again with Shepherd.
All the preparation that's gone into the fight for the 27th, how do you see the fight playing out on the night?
The fight, I want to go for all 8 rounds and give people what they want to come for to watch. So I'm going for 8 rounds. If knockout comes, it's a bonus. Yeah, but for sure I'm going for W. I'm going for win.
You're going for the win?
Yeah.
And let's say everything, the game plan rolls out and it's all in your favor, you walk away with that win. What's next for Denis Mwale after the 27th of November?
I would say there's other title, WBF again, Intercontinental, in the division which I just moved in now. It's vacant. And I wish that my manager maybe could organize that for 27 and me fighting Gifty Ball for that title. But I don't know if that could happen or it can happen because we still have like 3 weeks to go. If they can maybe arrange that, it's fine. We can go for 12 rounds. I'm preparing for everything since I've been training for all the time. But obviously after this fight, I'm going for that WBF Intercontinental title that I want to fight for. And in the future, maybe if it happen again, I still want to fight Ibrahim Class. I'm not satisfied for his win. I'm happy he win. I learned my lesson. But in future, I may call him out again. I want to fight him again.
You want to get that back?
I want to get that title. And if it's possible, if you want to defend that title with me again, I'm happy to go again. That's all it's going to depend with the promoters. If they give me opportunity, I want to go for that WBF super lightweight.
Well, you've heard it. We've actually just had a great opportunity to announce what BOXOP is doing. Obviously, as you've heard, at BOXOP 2 taking place this weekend. BOXOP Pro starting for the very first time, 27th of November, and that looks like, just from talking to just 2 of the fighters on the card, looks like it's going to be an absolute banger. A lot at stake for the fighters on the card, if you just listen to what Denis Mwale and Luke Sutherland have had to say. So hopefully you guys are going to be getting out there, getting your tickets. Now that sport is back, now that these boxers can start showcasing their skill and get back in the ring, you're going to be there to support them every step of the way. I'm really excited for this weekend's big punchy-kicky action. Like I said, UFC, Bellator, EFC, bare knuckle, all going down, and obviously Alvarez versus Plant. Until next time, hope you've enjoyed the show. Defend yourselves at all times. We're out.